Well, hi there, folks. This is Linda from North Central Texas. This is December 2nd, and I wanted to show you we've had a pretty good freeze, but I've still got my greens. I know we're going to survive because they like the cold weather. I've still got my tomato plants. Look at there. And they got little tomatoes. And this is December. There's that pretty tomato plant. I just knew that was going to die. I mean, probably the next one or two freezes will probably do that plant in. But that was a volunteer. It's putting out blooms. And I would be tickled to death if it didn't freeze anymore until I got a tomato off of that. Look at the blooms. And this is December 2nd. But see, I harvested my greens. That's why they look kind of puny right now. But they'll come back and I'll get another harvest off of them. There's my pineapple plant. Pineapple tree or whatever you call it. And I was worried about it. I didn't think it was going to survive there, but it looks like it's going to do good. At least it likes this time of year in that spot. My plants out here are doing real good. I just wished I could have fixed them a lot better. And I will. I'll get some cement and get busy on this before too much longer. But you can see I got my greens here. I harvested them, but they're coming back. They always do. And look at those marigolds. Aren't that pretty? Isn't that pretty, y'all? That pretty pot of marigolds that I planted. And that's all from seed from last year. Some of them may even have been seed from this year. We can see my greens in my buckets. I harvested. I just scalped it. But it's coming back. It looks like I got one surviving rose bush that I had rooted between my two Christmas trees here. So I'll hopefully get some more rooted and replant them. And look at that sunflower. Look at that. It's almost as tall as I am right now. See, the cold did damage some of the pepper plants, but the pepper plants are still alive. I mean, it did damage some of the peppers that were too little to pick the other day, but yeah, it did get to the leaves. But for the most part, all of them are still alive. And I'm just tickled to death over that sunflower. Look at that. It's going to have a bunch of sunflowers on it if they'll ever open. I mean, you can see here I'm standing next to it, and it's already as tall as I am. Right there. And see my Swiss chard. The greens are all living in these pots, and they're trying to produce more for me. I got sunflowers growing here, the little ones. I got one here. And look at that head of lettuce. Isn't that turning out to be the prettiest head of lettuce you've ever seen? I'm going to eat me a salad off of that. And that was that head of lettuce, you know, that came in that food order. And I harvested all the lettuce off of it, and I planted the base of it, which had roots on it. And it's producing another head of lettuce. I think that's beautiful. There's some Swiss chard there where I harvested, and it's coming back. I got some kind of greens trying to come up in there. Most of this stuff died back. But I do have a couple of sunflowers, look. Three small of the sunflowers that are trying to open. And that looks like one of the big ones right there. But it didn't get very tall. But I wanted to show you, see, my stuff is all broken down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up all of the soil that's in these pots or in the totes. And I'll be adding compost, some of my fresh compost to it before I plant for this year. And see, there's some greens right there. I think that's the smaller kale or one of the greens. But yeah, remember my compost pile back over here? I'm making some new compost. And what I'm going to do before I plant in the spring is mix all this dirt up. I'm going to put fresh compost in there, mix it up before I plant seeds in it again for the springtime. But for right now, it's kind of just doing its own thing. And see, I've got greens, my Swiss chard right there. I got some Swiss chard here with some more greens. And it looks kind of puny right now because, like I said, I went around and I harvested it all, remember? And look here. I got my onions coming up. Those are my walking onions, and this is in December, look. So you can plant your walking onions basically any time of the year you want to plant them. And just leave them because they'll come back up every year for you. So that'll be another tote full of Egyptian walking onions that I'll be harvesting green onions. And I'll have enough this coming year that I'll be able to pull up the whole plant and eat the whole onion instead of just cutting the greens off. I mean, I'm not going to pull all of them up. You know, I'll pull up one or two here and there and go ahead and eat them. Not like I did last year. Last year, all I did was cut the tops off of them because I wanted them to produce the little planting bulbs at the top. That's what these were. This whole tote is planted with the little planting bulbs that my other plants put off. And there's a pepper there. See, the cold is getting to it. It's getting too cold at night for it. All of this stuff is it's too cold for it to grow or do anything now. There's a thing of greens I harvested the daylights out of that. But it'll come back. And there's some there. My okra plants are trying to die off, and I need to go ahead and cut them and put them in the compost pile, I guess. But I'll leave them there for right now. And see my shark fin squash they just don't grow here for some reason. It put out a beautiful plant at the beginning of the summer, but then it just died back. My pepper plant there's still alive, and a beautiful zinnia, a marigold. Not zinnia, it's a marigold. I think that is the prettiest one because it's got the yellow and it's got the burgundy, orange look in it. It's just a pretty flower. But see how my rose bushes have come back to life? Right there. And I need to get my cement and finish my feature around my bird bath. I guess I'm going to have to break down, order it, and just pay the $60 to have it delivered. I hate to order something, though, when my delivery fee is going to cost more than my order fee is, you know. Look at that rose bush. It's still opening roses. But it come back to life after the summer. And there's some onions I had growing. And I got garlic chives growing in there, and I need to pull that plant out of it. It's got some kind of a weed growing in it. You see, my poor tomato plants are giving up. I need to go ahead and cut them back. The ones that are dying off. I'm not going to pull them out. I'm just going to cut them back and throw the dead part in my compost pile. My tomatillo's the same way. But you know, that's a tomato. But see, my tomato plants are still alive here. I've got greens. I've got garlic chives coming up in there. My pepper plants are still alive, putting out flowers to produce more peppers. More garlic chives there. More right there. And a dead tomato plant. But it's got a live shoot to it. Look at that. That part right there is alive. So the whole plant's not dead, but it will be. And look at that bean. My other ones never did come up for some reason. Maybe it didn't get warm enough for them to come up. But look at that one bean vine. That's foot-long beans. And it's growing like crazy. It's found a good spot. The roots probably went through the bottom of the pot into the ground. And it's growing like crazy. It'll start putting out beans before long. And see, it doesn't mind the cold weather. Those leaves will look just as good as they did if it was summer, probably better. Swiss chard or greens right there. I got some more greens here, here. And like I said, they don't look too good right now because I harvested the daylights out of them the other day. Swiss chard there in that little pot. It don't take a big pot to grow it in. I'm going to try to be more organized next year. I'm going to try to get my like plants in a group so I don't have them so scattered over the yard. And see, some of my marigolds did survive in my cinder blocks. Look at there. It'd have been so pretty if I could have kept a whole row of them. I've got a few over here that survived with my tomato plants. And look at there. Look at that tomato. The freeze the other night didn't hurt it. And the tomato plant's still looking healthy over here. My pepper plant back there. And look at this. How many people in north central Texas have tomato plants outside in their garden and are able to harvest little grape tomatoes off of it? That's a good little tomato. But see, my marigolds lived over here. My clematis. Marigolds in that pot. And I do need to cut my tomatillo plant out because the weather has just not been right for that thing this year. Not here in north central Texas, it hasn't. It needs to go in the compost. So that's something, if you haven't already done it, you need to do, is cut back your dead plants and put them in your compost pile. And there's my pot of walking onions back there. My peppermint. And see, my beets are still growing. They don't mind the cold weather. My raspberry bush. I really need to get it back in the ground. It don't need to be in that pot, I don't think. Marigolds. And there's my beets there. And see, some of my tomato plants are still surviving, even though we've had several freezes. And I've got a little tomato hanging back there. And I got more blooms where it's trying to put out more. And we've already had one good freeze. But I don't think they're going to survive too much longer. And all of these are still alive. It'd be so great if they would survive the whole winter and I wouldn't have to replant my pepper plants in the summer or in the spring. And I still haven't planted in my bucket planter up there. I'm going to put greens in it this year, I think. I'm going to plant Swiss chard and stuff like that in there. I'm not going to put anything else that vines like it did before. And there's my Jolly Green tree collards that I've got rooting. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And I need to break off some of these. Here, let me put this down. Sorry about that. I dropped the camera. But I'm going to get over here and break the leaves off of this while I'm here, because if I don't, I'll forget it. I really need to put them in the greenhouse is what I need to do. Keep my Jolly Green tree collards in the greenhouse. But yeah, I've got garlic chives coming up in there. And see here, it looks kind of bad right now, but it's ready now for another layer of leaves. And then I'll put another layer of dirt on top. And it should be broken down enough by the summertime or spring that I can get some good dirt out of that. And I haven't even started on that yet. It's still empty because I've been constantly piling stuff on this. But yeah, I've got to put more leaves on it, and I got to put dirt on it so it'll keep on breaking down and producing some good rich soil for me. And there's one of the Swiss chards I harvested. It's coming back though. See right in the center where it's putting out more leaves for me to harvest in a little bit. My walking onions. And I gotta water some stuff. But see, most of the tomato plants are still alive, but I don't expect them to put out anything else, not this late in the season, because we got some really cold nights coming up. You know, we'll have more freezing cold nights than what we've had, so it'll probably do it in. And I really need to restake some of these things when I get all the plants out. And look at there, okra in December, and you can eat that. I mean, that's a soft, good okra, but it's only 2. And there's another one coming right there. Okra in December. And see, I'm still getting peppers, even though we've had a freeze. There's a pepper on this one back here under the leaves over here, look. And I don't know, my blueberry plant looks like it died off. I just can't grow blueberry plants here. That tomato plant's still alive, growing good. Probably won't ever get to produce tomatoes, but my asparagus. I mean, I don't know about the asparagus. I had a bunch of it come up, but not enough to really harvest anything to eat. And look at that. I still got a yellow squash growing. The cold hurt a lot of these plants. You can see the freeze where it froze some of the limbs or the leaves. And that's trying to produce more okra up there at the top. I got marigolds coming up in there. And that was just from some stray seeds that fell off the marigold plant that I had put in there. Little Buddy's never come back, but there's Goldie, his girlfriend. I think somebody liked Little Buddy. They must have seen him on my YouTube videos and came by Wednesday or Thursday morning and picked him up. Figured they could make money off of him or something. But see, I got peppers in here, look. Well, if you can see it. Where's my hand? There it is. It's full of little bitty peppers. If they have a chance to mature before it freezes on them too hard. And there's one there. And that's a weed. And my walking onions, my Egyptian walk. That was my very first tote full of walking onions that I ever planted. And that rose bush, I don't think there's any hope for it. So what I'm going to do is pull that thing out, and I'm going to plant some kind of vegetable or greens in it in springtime. Pepper plants. Look at the marigolds. Aren't they pretty? I just wish I had more of them out here. Marigolds are really pretty. Goldie, you need to go find little buddy. I miss him already, and he's been gone since, what, Wednesday night, Thursday morning? And this is Saturday. He's never been gone that long before. And that looks like a celery that came up in here voluntarily. Look at that. I was trying to grow one from the cut off stalk that I planted. But there I've got a volunteer one. There must have been a stray celery seed. And it'll drop seeds, so it'll probably produce more plants. And there was my beets there. See, I still have not harvested my beets. But they don't mind the cold weather. So I'm going to let them grow a little while longer. Let them get as big as possible before I pull them. And see my pepper plants here, my marigolds. I love that color marigold. I'm definitely going to have to save the seeds from these. That is a pretty marigold. The burgundy. And see the tomato plants? December 2nd, and I've got tomato plants still. Like I said, I don't expect them to produce much at all, if anything, because we're going to get some more freezing cold nights, and they're not going to be able to do anything. But my pepper plants, look, they still look good. I may accidentally get another harvest of peppers off of them, I don't know. And see, these are empty, except for some greens that I throwed in here. My peppers, tomatoes, another pepper. My mandevilla, I'm hoping, so look at this. It's growing on up the trellis, the arbor, but it has not put out a flower yet. Goldie, go find little buddy. I miss little buddy. He needs to come home. I hope nobody got him, but I'm just afraid somebody picked him up. My mums out. I don't know why this pot of mums is living good, and one of them died. The one at the corner of the yard seems to be looking all right, but. And my hollyhocks, I don't guess they'll ever bloom. The wind got to them the other day and kind of broke down some of the leaves. But plant's still alive, and I got my clematis up there still blooming. Purple and lavender. See, that mum's died there, but the marigold still lived. I don't know why the mum died off. I'm going to turn my lights on tonight, I think. I've got another string of lights I'm going to put up back here in the backyard. And then I'm going to turn my lights on, I think. But all this flower comes up every year since I planted it years ago. I pulled it out a few times trying to get rid of it. But I think I'm just going to leave it this time, and I'm going to let it cover the whole rock bed. Because at least it'll be something green, pretty growing, and it'll have little flowers on it. And it's starting to sprinkle rain, so I won't get to come out here and paint any more of my Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, I guess. And see the mum here, it tried to die, but I moved it out here in this pot. And you can see the new growth coming up from the roots. So I may have lost one, but the other two have survived. And look at the marigolds. And my rose bushes are gone, the ones here on the property line. So I'll have to root more if I want to try to replant them. I don't know yet if I'm going to replant them or not. My greens here are okay. But look at this. See how I told you those seed pods would pop open? Look at all the seeds in there. I got to get those things cut off of there. Because if I don't, they're going to drop seeds and they'll go in the water tray and everything else. Look at this. Well, I'm trying to show you. Trying to show you here. See that one's popped open? It's got hundreds of seeds in there. I got to get it out. And look how they dropped in the pot. Look how all those seeds that dropped in the pot. So I will have moonflowers in these pots next year, that's for sure. But I do need to get those pods cut off and get those seeds. And see that one? That one popped open. And I don't remember what kind of plant that is, but it's been coming up there every year. Got a sunflower. And my moonflowers here, they're still alive. Look at that. And I'll have even more of them next year, I'm sure. Because I got them up in the pots. There's at least one moonflower in each pot that will drop seeds. And look at my corn still back there. And see, the corn growed from the bird seed. It had corn seeds in it. I don't know how it got this far back. I guess the wind blowed it, and maybe the squirrels tried to take it off and drop seeds and started growing corn back here. And I just left it to see what it would do. It's really not doing anything. It's the wrong time of year for corn to grow. I've got purslane all over my yard. I bought a small pot of it one year. Yeah, but I got to get busy with this. And I think what I'm going to do, if the buckets aren't too tall, I'm going to level the ground around it. I'm going to circle it with 5-gallon buckets. And then I'm going to put up a rock wall in front of the buckets so you can't see the buckets unless you're looking from the top down. And then I can plant stuff in 5-gallon buckets around it rather than trying to put it in the ground and have the grass come up through there. That's an idea anyway. We'll see. And there's my butterfly that I made one year out of coat hangers, and it's got a solar light in the top. And I've got it in this pot. And look, I've got a sunflower come up right there. I got marigolds. And I got greens growing. I got a combination of everything growing in there. So we're back at the beginning. I want to see what this is. Look at this. I got some stray marigold seeds. And look at the plants in the grass. And you know what? What I'm going to do, I think if I can pull them up. There, I got 2 plants from seeds that just fell out of the pot. And I'm going to stick them down in this pot, I think. Or I may put them out here with my my greens and moonflower seeds. I think that'll be pretty to have some marigolds growing in there, don't you? Put the camera down. And I'll see if I can make a hole deep enough to plant them in. I don't know how much longer the marigolds will live. But that's what happens with your seeds. You know, they sometimes fall out of the pots and start you some volunteer plants. And when they do, hey, that's a free plant. Pull it up, put it in a pot. Harvest the seeds off of it next time. Yeah, and look at these. All of these are breaking open. See how they split? I got to go get my scissors and cut those off. And see, I'm going to have a ton of these marigold seeds, because every one of the marigolds that have come up have been that multicolored one, which is so pretty. And I got to get out here and finish my cabinet. But look at that. Little bitty tomatoes. I think those are grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. And this is December 2nd. And this is in the yard, out in the open. So with that, I'm going to bid you a good day. Please like, share, subscribe to my videos. And above all, watch my videos. And y'all have a blessed day. I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.